Today, we have for you our 6 tips to making it a wonderful season. Hi, Coach. I'm Donald Watts, and I want to say thank you for having the courage to step out and work with youth and be that youth coach. We understand that it is a challenging experience. It can be an awesome and rewarding experience for everybody involved, and we're here to make sure that you have the skills to make that happen. We want to have a positive environment, most of all, for the kids that you're working with, second of all for you, and then for the parents that are involved. So here are the 6 steps to making it a great season for you. The number 1 tip of our 6 tips is making a plan for growth. That's for team growth and for individual growth. And this is the key, and communicating that consistently throughout the season, every practice, before practice, after practice, and when you have conversations with parents. This will get your mindset focused on not the winning and the losing and the things that you can't control, but the number 1 thing that you can control for your students and student athletes is that they grow throughout the season, and directing their attention towards that growth is critical for everybody having a great experience. Step number 2 is a piece of equipment that's going to be extremely useful for you. And that's to get a stopwatch, whether it's on your cell phone or wherever it is. But what you're going to be able to do is measure the kids' growth. You're going to be able to measure their development. You're also going to be able to measure how long they can pay attention, how long they can work as a team, those kind of things. So step number 2 is get a stopwatch. Critical for our next couple of steps. Step number 3 is something we're going to do before and after every practice. And what we're going to do is we're going to establish emotional connection. And it's as simple as when they walk through the door, making sure they give you a high five. You'll be able to tell who's enthusiastic about being there, who's struggling, who's dealing with things outside the court, and give them the special attention that they need to focus up, work hard, work together with each other. It's very simple. Athletes come in, they give you a high five, they leave, they give you a high five, and if you get a really enthusiastic high five, you know that kid's ready to go. If you get a mild one, you got to warm them up a little bit. If you have an athlete that doesn't want to give you a high five, that's who needs the special attention. Some players are going to require more attention than others based on their skills, ability, comfort zones, and all those things. But remember, we want everybody to grow, so we want to give everybody just the right amount of attention in order for them to be enthusiastic about being there, about trying hard, and about taking the risks that are necessary to grow. They have to learn to trust you. So the first thing you want to do when your players walk into the gym, and the last thing you want to do when they leave, is make sure you establish emotional connection with each and every player. Step 4, you're going to take a step back. We're going to use that stopwatch that we talked about in step 2, and we're going to use that to evaluate our player skill sets and then establish goals as a team and as individuals. When our athletes first walk into the gym, I like to do individual skill work first. Because with traffic and things like that in the city, you often get kids coming in 5 or 10 minutes late or whatever. And I don't like to get into the team goal stuff until everybody who I think is going to be at practice is at practice. So we'll start with some shooting drills, some time shooting drills, some time layup drills. We make sure that those drills are based on the kids' skill sets. So if one kid needs to work on left-hand layups, we'll do a couple sets of 3-minute left-hand layups, while the other kids that need to work on free throw line pull-ups are shooting free throw line pull-ups. And they're measuring how many they can make in a certain amount of time so that they're always progressing. The next step is to evaluate where you're at as a team. So when your team is all there, you take a drill as simple as 2-line layups and you say 2 minutes. They count to see how many they can get as a team. Then you move to the left side. They go 2-line layups. They count to see as many as they can get in the team. And what this does, using that stopwatch, having that count, is it keeps the players focused on developing as a group. You use these opportunities to help players understand how when they make mistakes, they got to push through them and get over it for the sake of their teammates, for the sake of the team goals, and also for the team to understand practice by practice how they grow. If you're really, really good at this process, your athletes will start working outside of practice, investing in their team goals and enjoying seeing their goals, individual and team, skyrocket throughout the year. Number 5, you're going to break your athletes into groups based on skills and abilities, and then design an offense around them that is going to allow them to be successful in game situations. One of the unique things about coaching recreational basketball is you have one player who has a high degree of experience, ability, has been playing for a while. Basketball is his primary sport, and you have to learn how to blend that with the other player who might be a soccer player that's a good athlete, but not necessarily a basketball player. And then you have your third group, your group of beginners, right? And the challenge, and this is what I want you to take a lot of pride in, the challenge is not to forget or not neglect either one of those groups, but to move each one of those groups up as fast as you can and move your beginners to your athletes group, move your athletes to your ballers group. You want your players to be enthusiastic about this experience. You want them to catch the bug, and you want all of them in the future to become future ballers. And that is the challenge for us as coaches. To do that, we have to make sure that every single one of these kids in each group has an understanding and a feeling of being successful. We have to put them in situations where they can be successful, and evaluating and understanding where they're at and where we want them to go next based on what their abilities are is critical for them feeling that success. Continuing on with number 5, now that we have those groups established and developed, you want to design your offense. And here's the key. Keep it simple. Don't get too complicated with your offense. Have your players that don't have the experience, right? Don't put them in situations where they're necessarily making decisions. Put them in the situations where they can finish plays. Take your players on the other end of the spectrum that are ball players and convince them that their job is to make everybody else around them better. That their job is not to make baskets, but to make plays. And the better that they are, the more baskets that they can get their teammates to make, as well as them making baskets. So make plays, not baskets. And then when you design that offense, you want to put players with ball handling and decision-making responsibility in relationship to what their abilities are on the court, so that when they get into game situations, they can have the success that they're looking for throughout the season. Step number 6 is at every timeout, every water break, the end of every practice, and especially at the end of the games, framing success and failure. Always talk about our growth, the things that we did to improve, and then the things that we're gonna do to improve going forward. I didn't say wanna do, I said gonna do. Always talk with that language with your team, not what you hope that they do, but as a group, what we are going to accomplish, and then set out at practice, in between practices, to continue to drive that success towards those goals and initiatives. If you follow these 6 steps, I guarantee you, you'll have a great season, you'll coach again, and your players will love you for a lifetime. I'm Donald Watts, Watts Basketball, and we are game changers for life.